have to think like a lawyer. If you're a listener, you have to respond like a teacher. So the lawyer is looking at everything that's going on and trying to figure out how to salvage points for his side or her side. The speaker is responding like a teacher in the sense that we cannot have biases about our students or their value systems. We have to go with how well the presenter substantiated the thesis. That's it. Okay, so keep that in mind. We'll talk about that again a little bit later. Let me talk about, I got to start with something kind of negative. If you're unprepared, regardless pretty much of the reason, you're missing some paperwork here, you don't have your disc, whatever, you won't be able to go, it'll be a 0, it'll get averaged in, and you get 1 second chance. And that second chance could be next time, the beginning of class, middle, end, anytime I call on you, so that means you'd have to have your stuff with you every day. All right? I won't shame you, I won't coach you. You say I'm not ready, I'll just write the 0 down and we'll go on to the next person. It'll be messing up the schedule, nobody will be happy, but that's what we have to do. Okay? All right, so the negative is over. Now, let's go through this procedure here. Who's our counter? Do we have a counter yet in this class? You're the counter. Okay. How many students are present? I want a head count right now. This is the first thing you're going to do every day from now on, Christine. What's the head count in this room? 16? Okay, so when we total up responses from the audience, what is the highest total we're going to have? What should we have every time right now? As long as nobody leaves the room and nobody comes in now. 15, good for you. 15, okay. So it'll add up to 15 votes. All right. I want to take you through the procedure. So I'm going to pretend I'm you. I'm the speaker, so you know how this is going to work. Okay. When I call your name, you're going to come and present me with all this information, all this paperwork. Then you're going to come up here and you're going to announce your bare bones thesis. The bare bones does not have the forecasting stuff in it. So you're going to say, abortion is murder, the death penalty should be abolished, we should all wear uniforms, teachers are underpaid. Okay? Whatever it is. All right. At that point, as audience members, you get to vote with your gut. Your value system, your own response. So, if you agree, you're going to sit over here in the agreement section. If you disagree, you're over here. If you're here, it's because you don't understand what's being said, you don't get the proposition, you don't know how you really feel, or you're not terribly interested, but you wouldn't be rude enough to say that. That's why you'd be in neutral. So this is how we get our DNA, count. Okay? Once you're in these positions, from that point on, you have to vote based on the reasonableness of the case that the speaker is making in an effort to support the thesis. That's how you think like a teacher. We remember, as I probably told you before, we cannot judge the essays we get or the reports we get based on whether or not you agree with our value system. That cannot be. That would not be fair. You would, well, you know it wouldn't be. You want to be judged based on how reasonably you did something you were asked to do. And that's what you have to do here. And that's hard. I'm asking something of you at your age that's hard even for educated adults to do. Right? So that means if you agree with a speaker at the beginning, got agreement, and you're sitting over here, if the speaker gets up and offers no hard data to support whatsoever, and just has personal opinion after personal opinion throughout the speech, where do you have to be by the end of the speech? Yeah. Even if you still really agree with them. Okay? By the same token, speaker gets up here, you disagree with a person, and you really hate this whole idea they're proposing, let's say it's the school uniforms, no way do you ever want to do this, but the speaker gives you lots of good information, does a good job of persuasion, you have to give them the agreement and go over there. If they've left some things out you were waiting for and they never addressed, you probably end up in neutral. There might be cause for you to be in disagreement, but not that much. Okay, so that's important. Okay, so now everybody's been counted. The count has been reported. I have the DNA figures. Here's what you do. The camera person starts, gives you the signal. Timer is ready over here with the time cards, and you start by create a title, announce it loudly and clearly, and don't let your voice dribble away at the end. Then take a little beat. Then start your intro. The nice triangular structured intro that leads gradually, logically, and subtly to a thesis statement, and right there is your thesis. And then you expand it into your forecasting statement. Okay? And then we hear the signpost, how you organize your speech. Then we hear argument 1 with a signpost, argument 2 with a signpost, argument 3 with a signpost, and then we come to the conclusion. All the time that you're speaking, remember now, audience can be moving. The typical student will probably move no more than once or twice. You could move more than that. When you move, though, you're going to have to duck when you go in front of the camera, and if you're sitting here in Gray's position, let's say, right here, and you want to go directly over to agreement, you cannot walk right in front of the speaker. That's way too disconcerting. What you have to do is take the long scenic route down, duck, and come over here. Okay? All right. I usually have somebody ask, you know, isn't that a little distracting for the speaker to have people moving? Yeah, it is until you're used to it. If you see someone go to agreement, you'll get this wonderful rush of adrenaline. If you see somebody moving toward disagreement, that is more of a tummy sinking feeling. If you can keep your poise and say, okay, why did, really quickly this is going on in your brain, why did they move over there? What did I just say? Oh yeah, oh okay. I probably said it too strongly, or I didn't explain it enough. You get to add anything you want to your speech there. That's why you're not memorized. You don't have a script that you're working from. You have note cards. And my hope is that, of course, when you've practiced this aloud 4 or 5 times before you got here today, when you practice it, it should change every time. It's an organic approach, so that if you're comfortable with change each time you practice it, then when you get here for time 6, hey, it's no sweat. You're fine. It's changed every single time anyway, so who cares if it changes right here? Right? It's more comfortable that way. Yes?
What about the timer? Like,
What about the timer?
do they move?
Oh, good question. Timer does not move. Camera person does not move. So the counter has to check on their vote first. Okay? Those are the two people. And I'm stationary. I don't move. Okay? All right. Let's see. You can't get personal. Remember we did our little logic discussion the other day? So just because you may not love somebody in the class, you love them a lot, doesn't mean that should affect anything you do. Like, oh, I guess I'll give her an extra point and I'll move to agreement. You do that, we have no integrity for this assignment, and it's just kind of a waste. You need to move based on the reality of the case. If you always end up in the same place at the end, there's a good chance, it's not totally always true, but there's a good chance there's something wrong. I mean, you have a problem with understanding the expectations on the part of the audience. I did have a kid one time who was there all the time. And when I finally asked him after about 4 times when he ended up in disagreement, it turned out that he never could play the game the way it was supposed to be played. He had his own value system. He was very stubborn. He wasn't going to move because they didn't persuade him. So I said, you're destroying the whole purpose of this, which is audience adaptation and active listening on the part of the audience. We want active listeners. Most of the time, you could sit here in a speech, which you'll do the rest of your lives. You will sit out here like this, being polite, being quiet, not moving, and the speaker cannot know how you feel. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know if they're communicating successfully or effectively or not. They're not going to have any idea whatsoever. In this exercise, you have a clearer picture of what people are feeling. You don't know exactly why, but you've got an idea. Let me see. At the end of the speech, if I have heard anything that I know to be a misstatement, an inaccuracy of some kind, as an educator, I will feel obliged to bring that up and to point it out. I can't have my class walking out thinking something is true when I know it's not, and I could support my position if I needed to. All right, so you do have to be prepared for that. Anybody, I'm gonna stop now, 'cause